If you're in South Africa or in Africa, or honestly anywhere outside of the big tech countries, and you're trying to get into remote work without any proper experiences or the relevant degree, if you feel like you've done all the right things, taken all the right courses, fixed your CV 1,000 times, and still not getting any responses back, I've been there. In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 mistakes that I did that just kept me stuck, that I eventually fixed, and I landed my own remote job. Just to put it out there, I'm not here to sell you any dream. I'm just here to share my journey and experiences with you so that you can take from it whatever you can and maybe help you cut the time of your own journey in half, and you don't spend all of that time making the same mistakes that I did. Hi, I'm Lesero, and in 2022, I took my first ever proper online course, and this was the Google's Digital Marketing and E-commerce Professional Certificate. I took that course on a discount, and I had to complete it before it could expire. And then after that, I posted it on TikTok. People loved it, and it gave me confidence. And from there, I went down a rabbit hole. I started taking courses and then posting them, and then getting congratulations, and just kept going and taking many courses. And it was great. I loved it. It gave me so much confidence. I was always upskilling. I was always taking something, posting the certificate, posting the badge. But the truth, man, I was stuck. Take a course, post, congratulations, feel good about myself, and then what? Nothing. I had no real focused role. I had a messy CV that had everything on it. All of the courses that I took, all of the skills. And while I was spending all of my time on these courses, I was making no money from it. I mean, yeah, I was learning a lot, but I was not going anywhere. And now I'm about to share with you all of these 5 things that kept me stuck. Mistake number 1, I was learning everything, but I was going nowhere. I think the idea here was that the more I learned, the more deserving and the more experienced I was becoming. That's not true. I was learning a broad set of skills, yes, and I just kept telling myself that the next course is the one that's going to get me through the door. No, it was not. As much as I was learning, I was overwhelmed. I was confused about the things that I truly wanted. And I was applying to a whole lot of random roles, hoping something would stick. I was just hoping someone would see all of this great effort that I put into learning and would say, you know what, she's been through a lot. Let's just take her. But it doesn't work like that. Now, what I would want you to take away from that is to pick one area of expertise and just stick to that. See if it's something that resonates with you and just go with it. If it does not, then you can move on to the next thing instead of trying to do everything all at once, going in different directions, but getting nothing of value from it, stunting your own growth. That is what I did to myself. Really bad. So you're going to pick one thing, right? For example, you could be a virtual assistant, maybe an editor or social media manager. Learn all the tools to help you support yourself through that role, and then build small projects, pick up all the skills that you need just for that one specialized role that you've picked up for yourself. And then talk about these things that you're doing. That way you can just build onto the things that you already know and just grow onto the things that you don't. And you can learn from other people too, which is something I struggled with. If you're someone who sees yourself in this mistake that I did, I'm going to need you right here in this moment. Just pick up a piece of paper and a pen and write down one area that just comes to mind that you would like to focus on for the next few months. I'm not going to say weeks or days. That's too short of a time to decide whether or not you would like to pursue something. But if you're someone who's not explored many options, I think you might want to take a bit of time to try to understand if one area is something that you'd like to specialize on. After you're done learning this one thing, you can now move on to explore other options. I think that's better instead of just going in different directions. Honestly, for me, sometimes this mistake that I made has helped me a lot, so I don't regret it all that much. It's just that for a long time I was lost. Now, when I work with different people, when they ask me, have you played around with this tool, then yes, I have, because I was just split in many different directions. not a good thing, but sometimes it had that benefit. But still, pick one area. Mistake number 2, and this is just not me. I know that there's a lot of us who do this out there. Applying with one CV everywhere. That's not gonna work. That is not gonna work, especially if you're looking for a remote job. It's not gonna work. For me, at one point, I had a CV that had everything on it, right? All of the courses that I took, all of the skills that I picked up along the way. It was a mess. If I didn't know what I wanted, how could the person trying to hire me know where to place me? It's a difficult position to put someone in. I'm going to give you an example. At one point, I was a tutor. I was tutoring children with maths, but I would still take my CV and apply to admin roles with it, to data roles, to virtual assistant roles. So then one day I did some research and I decided to, have one version that I'm gonna copy over multiple times for different roles. So what you do is keep one version of the CV untouched and you can make copies from it. The copies are gonna help me position myself for different roles. So if I wanted to get into being a tech virtual assistant, I would then make a copy from the original version to position myself only as a tech virtual assistant. And then another copy that's going to maybe position me as a social media manager. And for each one of those, if you've taken online courses like I did, you're going to turn your coursework into practical bullets where you just list what you did. I built a dashboard. I designed this poster. I'm assuming that you're not going to have any experience, so you're going to use your coursework to build your experience. And then again in your CV, you're going to highlight your skills to sort of position yourself for remote work. So maybe documentation, you can just say you can document processes really well, or you can communicate clearly, because communication is really important when you work remotely. Or you can say that you can work independently because this is remote work. The people that you're working with are not there with you physically, so they're gonna have to trust that you can work independently. Highlight the skills that you have to position yourself better for remote work in that way. So your CV should not be trying to please about 12 roles, 15 roles. Someone should be able to look at your CV and say, okay, this person can help me with so and so and so. Not a broad skill set where they don't know what you specialize in. If you specialize in a lot of things, you're gonna have a CV that's tailored for each and every one of your specializations if you're a jack of all trades. So since we're here, if you have a CV and it just looks like a menu, you're gonna have to switch that up. You're gonna have to split it into different versions instead of having one CV that you're just hoping is gonna get you through the door somehow. Someone just notices that you have this broad skill set and they're gonna take you. It can be advantageous at times, but it's not gonna work all the time. Moving on to the third mistake, I think that, in the countries that we come from, I'm from South Africa, so if you come from an African country, I think that we often think that we need to be qualified before applying for certain roles. So I was guilty of thinking that I needed to be qualified before I applied, right? That's why I was always so obsessed with taking the next course that's just gonna get me more qualified, that's just gonna position me more as a better prospect than other candidates. And that's just not true. Every time I thought about applying, I'd look at job posts and just think to myself that I still haven't done enough. I still don't know enough. I need more time, or that no one will take me seriously because I don't think that I have enough knowledge. So I was stuck thinking that I needed to be qualified to be taken seriously or to be considered for the job, which is not entirely true. I'm not gonna lie, this one mistake kept me stuck for a really long time, because every time I thought about applying to jobs, I just look at job posts and think, I'm not qualified enough. So then with those thoughts, I just pause the application and just go back to studying. That cycle for me was really comfortable. It was protective and felt really productive. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why most of us always get stuck in the student stage, because it's comfortable. Every time you don't feel ready, you just think, I need to do more. And then you go back to study and just get stuck there. And somehow it doesn't make you feel like you're wasting your time, because you feel like you're investing it into your studies. But really, you're just wasting your time, truly. So, what you can do differently if you're someone who's also stuck in this cycle, you can apply while you are studying. And you're not going to position yourself with, Hi, I'm a student, please hire me. In your CV, you can just say, I'm currently studying so and so, and I have built this and that. You can sort of work with scenarios. You can ask ChatGPT to sort of draft a scenario for you, a scenario that has a problem that you can solve. And those are the things that you can present in your CV. Yes, I am studying, but this is what I can also do. Trying to apply or getting hired to do something while you're still in the learning stages, I think sort of opens you up to a whole new world of experience, because sometimes you're too focused on learning that you just forget about the whole experience thing. That's why with me, even after I took all of those many courses that I took, sometimes I was unable to just sit down and do anything without a proper guidance from a course. If you're someone who's been learning for months, stuck in this cycle, I am telling you, you know enough. I promise you, you're going to be able to do it. You just need to start. If you don't, you'll never know how much you know or how much you don't know and what you need to work on. So just get over the fear and do it. Just do it. You're not going to die, I promise. You get qualified in the process of doing. If you don't do, you never get qualified. You don't even know what you're capable of. You are just stuck, so get out of it. That's my advice to you. I think that was really friendly advice. Get out. Now, for the fourth mistake was freelancing. And I'm sure I'm not going to say what you're thinking, but for me, I always thought that freelancing was for seasoned professionals. So then I always ignored it. I told myself that I'll start freelancing after I got a real job and saw how things worked. But freelancing is literally your entry ticket. I knew that I had a world of skills to offer people that needed my help, but I just sat there because I thought I wasn't going to be professional enough, or that I didn't have the real life experience that I needed in order to freelance. I ignored freelancing when it could have literally opened doors for me. I could have worked on projects that gave me testimonials. I could have had projects fill my portfolio. I could have built my confidence, my skills, my knowledge, and made money while doing it, but I just didn't, because I thought I was not going to do it as professionally as it needs to be done. But what's professional? We don't know. So I'm going to need you to get started on a freelancing platform and look at the jobs that are on there. Just break them down into all of the things that you know and ask yourself if you can do this. Honestly, if you can look at a job, you don't see how you can figure it out, then maybe don't force yourself to apply for that job. But if you can read the job description and think to yourself, if I take my time, dissect this, I can absolutely do it, then you can. Some of the jobs that you're going to find on these freelancing platforms, I'm going to use Upwork because that's what I use. Some of the jobs that you would find on Upwork are really, really simple jobs. So you can look at the jobs that you can actually do, or the ones that you think that if you sat down and thought about, you could actually do. There are a lot of people that are willing to give first timers a chance, because they're also looking to get a discount. So if someone wants to get a discount because you're doing this for the first time, maybe do it. Just pick really simple, useful projects that can help you build your portfolio and maybe your reputation on a freelancing platform, just so that you can grow and understand how these projects are done in real life and how to interact with other professionals within a space. And that is how you grow, that is how you understand how things work, that is how you also get to abandon the feeling of not being enough or not knowing enough. The more you do something, the more relaxed you become. It becomes less and less and less of a big deal. And remember, if you're going to take small projects, you're going to need to charge very reasonably. And I think that in the beginning, it's all about trying to build experience and not making money. So don't start out by trying to make big bucks. Just build your knowledge, your confidence, your skills, and a reputation. Think about just building an experience for yourself that you can put down on your CV if you want to apply for an actual job later. Projects will do more for you than a course could, because in all of the interviews that I've been in, no one was actually interested in the certificates, the number of certificates that I took. They always ask me about the projects that I've done before and sort of refines the first analysis. So I think that if you got started freelancing with small projects, you're going to have something to talk about in your interviews. If you do end up getting an interview, you have something to talk about. And like we talked about before, applying while learning, it creates something for you to talk about in interviews. You know, if someone looks at your CV, they're going to want to ask you about what you're studying and the project that you worked on. And it just creates sort of a conversation that you can have. You become interesting, which is exactly why I think you should give freelancing a chance. So try to freelance by doing small projects. And then when you become confident enough, you can now start to move on to bigger projects, because now you've had interactions with interviewers and you sort of get to know the things that you should and shouldn't say in interviews, and you sort of get the confidence to just sit in an interview, and you can also get the chance to reject the jobs that you don't want and accept jobs that you think are going to help you grow more. Starting small applies everywhere because that's what helps you grow. And now we're down to one last mistake, and that was doing everything all alone for the longest time. For the longest time, it was just me taking courses on my laptop and just posting them online. I didn't have discussions with people that were doing the exact same things as me. I never really posted any of my rough work. I was really scared of people seeing the things that I was working on. Because of not sharing all of these things with people, I stayed stuck. I had made a lot of mistakes. I got confused about a lot of things that probably somebody could have just cleared out for me. And most of all, I missed chances when I could have helped people that needed help with the things that I knew at the time. Because I was speaking to no one, I literally had no opportunities that presented themselves to me. Had I had a community of people that I was maybe talking to, they could have probably said, "Oh, you can do this. I know someone who needs someone who can do this, and that." And I could have just opened myself to a world of opportunities. Sometimes I just look back and I was like, these were such really simple things that you could have worked through. Why didn't you? Why didn't I? And the solution to that is to find community so that you can talk about the things that you're doing, so you can get help for the problems that you probably have and can't solve on your own. You can start sharing actual projects instead of just collecting certificates. So you get projects that you can collaborate with other people on. And that way you actually have real life interactions and experiences, and you get to learn a whole lot more from other people. You get to engage with people that have the same interests as you. You grow in your niche, and you can finally start being honest about the things that you can or can't do, or realize the things that you can or can't do. Because when you're exposed to other people, you sort of can't help but realize where you lack, and it helps you grow, sort of rectify your past mistakes and become a better person. When you share yourself and your journey online, people can see what you do, right? And people who need that sort of help can then recognize you and reach out to you. And then you realize that you just needed to have a conversation, not take another course. Sometimes it's just that simple. Try to find some community and get out of your own head. If you see yourself in all of the mistakes that I just shared with you, you're trying to do everything all at once, you have no direction, you are using one CV for everything, you are waiting to be qualified before you can start applying to jobs, you are refusing to freelance and trying to figure everything out all on your own, consider this me talking to you, or a version of myself in the past. I'm just asking you to sit down, write all of these things down, look at the areas of your journey that you can try to improve so that you can position yourself better for remote work or just work in general. I know that there are a lot of other things beyond the things that I've mentioned But I need you to know that you do not need to be perfect in any way to start taking chances. But what you do need to do is to decide the things that you want to do, the people that you want to help, and then show proof that you can actually help them, and stop hiding behind excuses and going back to the same cycle of sitting down to learn, to improve yourself, consuming endless content, telling yourself that after this YouTube video, I'm going to do it, but you don't. Start with this video. I do want to leave you with one last bit of information or my opinion. I just think that the world has changed a lot, and not a lot of people today care about qualifications. So that's one thing I honestly don't think should be holding you back. So if that's one thing that you've been struggling with, asking yourself if you need to be qualified to get into remote work, or just areas that you want, spaces that you want to get into, I don't think that you should obsess over trying to get qualified before you can start, applying to these jobs or these roles that you want to see yourself in. Education is seen differently from how it used to be seen in the past. So don't obsess over such things. I think that people really just care about what you can do for them, the skills that you have, what you have to offer them. That's what they care most about. One other thing that I've found to work is calling yourself a virtual assistant. So you find that many employers are trying to hire people for specialized roles, but they say that they are looking for virtual assistants because they're trying to save money. So what you can do is call yourself a virtual assistant that specializes in something. So you could specialize in maybe web development or data analysis or social media management, just to try to break into whatever industry you're interested in. If you're still here, you clearly care about changing your situation, and I'd like you to tell me in the comment section where you're from, what stage you're at, and which of these 5 mistakes you're guilty of committing. How did you fix that, or how are you going to fix that? You can share that with us in the comments. In the next videos, we're going to talk about how to structure your CV for remote work when you don't have any experiences or a degree, how to build your portfolio using simple free tools that you can find online, and how to position yourself better for remote roles, even if you don't have the experience, the degree, the qualifications, or anything that you think might be getting in your way. I'm telling you, people don't care about these things. If you want to be a part of this journey, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you get notified. And now I'm going to ask you to pick one thing from this video to act on today. That could just be the first thing that you do to starting your remote work journey. See you on the next one.